Hello and welcome back to Space Engineers. In today's video, I'm once again taking a look at one of your designs that you recommended me on Mod.io. For today we are looking at something very useful if you've got a ship that takes a lot of damage all the time. This is called the Car Wash Style RE3 Build Facility, which is this lovely thing that I'm currently standing on. So this doesn't look like much from the outside, but once we were to go inside, you can see we've got a fancy little setup where we can land the ship down, then we have a fully automated building system that will then pull it along like a conveyor, repair everything up, and then you can eject yourself out the other side. We also have the option of restocking up any ammunition in your containers, and we do have an option for a long repair, depending on how big your ship actually is. And we'll test out a bit later on where I've got a very beat up Dex fighter sitting in the distance, had a bit of fun with a machine gun, and it is a perfect ship to showcase this because it's got a projector built in, so it's very easy to repair everything up. Anyway, for the Car Wash Style RE3 build facility, come over to here, press F10, find it in spawn menu. This thing is 3,210 large blocks, using the Warfare 2 Heavy Infantry Tom-Toms Wasteland Decorative Block number 2, Frostbite and Spark to the Future DLC packs. We can see here a tiny bit of information about it, and it does use one mod, a mod that I absolutely adore, Survival Mode, and that's the Nanobot Build and Repair System. So if you're not familiar with that mod, basically what it is a extra pair of hands that allow you to reach into places that you wouldn't normally be able to get to. It can grind stuff up, it can weld stuff up, all by just pulling stuff out of your containers that's connected up to. Yes, it is a bit cheaty if you were to use it as such, because you can use it on the ship as a weapon and simply have it target the enemy buildings, enemy ships, and have it deconstruct them as you're fighting it. But if you use it sensibly, what it's actually designed for, it's a very useful mod to have, especially if you're playing solo. Anyway, giving this thing a thumbs up, move around over to here, we'll have a brief look around the outside, we'll go and take a tour of the interior, test it out, and I'll show you how this thing works. So, at the very front for the Car Wash RE3 build facility, what we got is a bunch of lovely grey steel blocks. We see some windows that allow you to peer inside, make sure you can see if anyone's actually using the facility before you try and enter the building. Above there we can see our hangar bay doors that will open up automatically as we approach them, until you go in and connect up that connector. Above there is our leather blocks to spell out the Car Wash RE3 and build. If you move down over to this section, we then got a small little building that houses all the important stuff for this building to run. As you can see down there, we do have a connection point, so if you want to actually connect up to a larger building, you can do. And if you really want to, you can strip off these side sections and connect it up to the main building if you want to have it built into an actual complex. Anyway, over to this side, we've got another small building, this time in blue. Once again, it's got all the important stuff to make sure this thing can actually fully function. If we look around over to this side once again, round onto the side, there we go, we see even more windows on the main building, a bunch of catwalks for you to walk all the way around. We see some fantastic use of our hazard skin blocks on the inside, as well as a red piston for you to dock up to, and a bunch of LCD screens that will move all the way down so you can get a clear view of what's actually happening and the options you can do. Over to this section, we see a bunch of in-case conveyors come all the way across over to this part. We've got a bunch of welders, a bunch of exhaust blocks shooting out some electricity and smoke, and a lone Gatling turret in the middle there to act as a small point defense against any kind of pesky drones that come over to this station. That's all this is for, so you can easily detach it if you don't want to have it on here, but it should prove very useful to have it in survival mode if you don't have any actual defense in the area. Putting away from this, move around onto the very rear of the building. Here we go. We then got our exit doorway, another set of windows appear inside, and over onto this side, once again some more windows appear inside. And there's a small building with the door to get in. Moving all the way up and looking down, there we go, a bunch of windows so we get a good view of what's going on in there. Then all the way down underneath it, there we go, we see how everything's been connected up with our conveyors, and not much else. And there we go, that's a brief look around the outside, the Car Wash Style RE3 build system. It's time for me to grab hold of my character, we can have a little walk around on foot, then I'll go and grab the ship and go inside. So coming all the way down to the ground, here we are, we now walk up and come into this section, where we can see we've got our main sorting and component storage. So opening up the doorway into here, it's just a bunch of large cargo containers for you to access, load stuff up manually, and repair up if it ever took damage in combat. So as you saw in this one, we've got ammunition to allow you to restock any ships that come inside. Very handy stuff. Then we come over to this one, got another one, we've got nothing inside. Then over to this one, again, nothing inside. Walking through the containers, onto the opposite side, there we are. So now we can come back around to where we just were, I think we have to come back through here. Outside the door, then we come round to the blue building. So round to the opposite side. And round to here, there's the blue building, there's an air vent on the outside. Then we come around to the steps, that then lead us all the way up. So this is our fuel storage, very handy once again for a ship. We come into there, there's your hydrogen tanks. Well, I suppose it will be optional. I won't be using this with the Dex Fighter because it has no hydrogen thrusters on it. It's purely atmospheric. There we are with this room. Coming to the opposite side. There we go. Then we've got to crouch out of here once again. There we are. We now come out the doorway. Now head up the steps to where I started with. So over to this part where the black section was, we now walk all the way up to here, all the way around, and up, and now we're up to this section. So we can walk across these catwalks so we can view from the outside if we wanted to. So there's the piston to connect up to. There's our button panel in the yellow to actually control all the stuff about it. Let's come into the door and come inside. Here we go. And there is what it looks like. So we've got some spotlights, we've got LCD screens on the hinges. Like I said, they'll fold all the way around to give you your options for what you can do. But as for this part right here, we come to this remote control. We've got a few options of what we can do with our ship. Number 1, which is going to be for your short repair. Then we've got number 2 for your long repair cycle. And then number 3 for your ammo supplier. We can talk about on and off, depending on if you actually need ammunition in your ship or not. If you were to walk all the way along, there's your piston. There's the LCD screens once again. There's the little camera. And we just walk across to the opposite side. We've got, once again, our hangar bay, which will open up automatically due to a sensor. Come down to the opposite side. There was a little drop down point at the start. So all the way over to here, into this part, dropping all the way down. Here we go. At the bottom here, we've got a bunch of event controllers. We've got timer blocks galore all the way around this room. There's another piston to help drag this thing along like a conveyor belt. And onto this side, you can see another time block and more event controllers. Looking up, we've got some light panels to make sure it's not too dark in here. And walking around the bottom, there's another connector. Over to there, we can see our build and repair systems to make sure we can build it up in a nice long time, because one of them by themselves are not too quick at the end of the day, so having multiple could be very, very good for a much more complex ship. And around the room there's a couple of batteries. There's another connector, which is going to be for your ammo storage to load everything up. And walking towards the back of the room here, there's another connector. There's a merge block on another piston. And there's some more time blocks. And there we go. So that's a brief look on the inside. So it's now time for me to grab hold of the Dex Fighter, fly all the way up to this. We can actually see how this thing works. Now this thing is surprisingly impressive for how it works. It actually caught me off guard when I loaded this up and tested it. So here we go, into this, putting the power back on, lifting this all the way up. We don't need to see any of that. And yes, this thing is in a very poor condition. And as I stated, this thing does have a projector on there, so now I can project up all the damaged blocks. We can just go and fly all the way up to this and get this thing rolling. So here we come, slowing this down slightly, coming all the way up to it. The doors now open up automatically. So we'll sit here for a minute, make sure we're not going to crash into any of the doors. Now we should be able to fly inside. Here we go. So now as we were to approach this, God, that was very loud. Not too sure why the hangar bay doors are so loud after this latest update. Now we just come up to this and slowly connect this thing up. Need to come back a little bit onto tab number 1. Down we come. And now we can just connect this in place. Once we connect this, we can see the LCD screens will now fold all the way onto us. And we've got a few options to go through. So number 1 is telling us to turn off our thrusters, which I'll do by pressing number 1. Then number 2 is going to be to set our batteries to recharge. There we go. Number 3 is to set your hydrogen tanks to stockpile if you do have them on your ship. And then number 4 is telling you to go over to that terminal, take remote control, and actually start everything up. If we were to come into third person view, we can see the ammo available to load up into the ship. So we've got that all ready to go. So now what we can do is hop out of this, come all the way down to where I just was earlier with the control panel. Here it is. Now we can come inside. Press number 1 to take remote control over the station, and now we can press number 1 to actually start the system. Hopping out of this and walking all the way along, we can see the build and repair system, that lovely little yellow glow, go over to it and repair it up. And we're just going to walk along with it, and it's slowly being dragged along, being repaired up, pulling everything out of the containers we saw earlier on one of the side buildings. Looking down to here, we can see how the piston is extending out, and once it gets to a certain distance, the one at the front will now move across, connect up to, then that will disconnect at the back and it will drag it further along. Just moving away from there, we can see it's doing a fantastic job repairing everything up. Got a few exhaust blocks around the room, shooting some black smoke to make it more atmospheric in the room. And then once everything is done, there we go, that's now connected up. That's a little snap going over to the merge block coming towards it. We'll then start to move towards the front. I think I'll only do that once it's fully repaired up. Last time when they tested it, I only did a bit of light damage. And after a short delay, hopefully it will do. There we go. So now that's all been done, it's now being dragged along towards the front. We see the piston out the back there has now been retracted back to the starting position. And this one's now going to drag it towards the front. There we go, it looks like it has now finished with the repairing sequence. And once that's all done, It's now going to unlock the door at the front and allow me to escape. We're going to stay here for just a moment because it will need to finish off the cycle. And I believe everything is now absolutely completed. Yes, it is. So now I can get back into the seat. Here we go. Now I can come into here, put the thrusters on, put the batteries back to auto, disconnect that, and now fly this thing away. And once I've disconnected that, we can see the piston now pushing it all the way back, but that'll then meet it in the middle once again, and it will reset the whole system to allow you to go all the way around again. Just go and fly this all the way out, and there we are. Brand spanking new Dex Fighter, ready to go and get beaten up once again. And that's all this system does. So it's a very novel thing to do if you do want to have a very quick repairing system. It's actually quite a lot of fun to go through. I had a surprising lot of fun watching that all go through. And yes, it can be a very useful thing to just have scattered about in the world, maybe have attached onto a small station here and there. So if you do get into a bit of a pickle, you can just go and repair that up. Or if you wanted to, do a bit of role playing and say you control the station and have other people come and dock their ships up where you control the system and they simply sit in the Dex Fighter or in whatever ship they have and just go through the system like an actual car wash. As for that, that's pretty much it for the car wash style RE3 build facility. It's a lovely little thing that is quite a lot of fun to actually watch and go through. Yes, it does use mods. Yes, the mod is a little bit cheaty if you were to use it as such. If you're sensible with it, it's still very handy at the end of the day. So to finish off this video, what I'm going to do is now beat up the Dex Fighter once again by reversing it all the way up, hopefully not crashing into the ground and ruining what I just did. And it looks like we're still in one piece. But here we go, we're now going to charge towards it and slam straight into it. Any second now, straight to the side. And there we go. And, well, if it was to slap on a new cockpit, you can now send it all the way through. But yes, being next to this facility will make it very easy to repair this all up. Anyway, that is that for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you wish me to showcase one of your designs, just leave me a message on mod.io. It's a lot easier than YouTube comments because it tends to get deleted before I can see it. I'll be back with another video some point soon. Bye bye.